Very good.
Thank you, everybody, for signing in. So, depending on where you are, we're having lunch here, and perhaps it's your morning. So, bring a coffee like I see Dave is drinking right now. It's totally fine. Cheers, everybody. Hello, hello. So, I do want to recognize who I can see on screen, or turn on your cameras first. So, I see Wendy. Good to see you. You're first on my screen. And Alice, nice meeting you virtually. And
nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, Alice. So today we're pretty open. It's a roundtable discussion. We'll give you an idea what we're about, and we're going to see everybody in person very soon. So we're really excited about it. Morgan, thank you for the big smile, because I know we are kind of getting used to the Zoom setting at this point. Still, I do want to see you in 3D and get a chance to meet you, talk to you, and learn about your investing journey. So Ryan will join me shortly. There are several topics that's going to be presented at InvestEd. So this is our annual conference, basically. And today, Ryan will take us through how he gets to $50,000 per month, the roadmap, and how you can leverage multifamily and financing structure to reach your financial goal. So let's get started. I do respect your time. So also, these are a few things I do ask from you as housekeeping items. I get that. You might be eating right now. It might be your lunch break at work. It is my lunch break, by the way, depending on where you are. So if you're in Vancouver or a wedding in Alberta, just bring a coffee, have brunch, have breakfast. And I see Morgan is drinking as well. So yes, bring your lunch so we can have a quick chat. And I know there's a lot to cover because it is a big topic. So Ryan is actually on the way to his mentorship. And I see that he's joining us today. Before we get started, I do ask you to turn on your camera. We say, hey, quiet investors or broke investors at the same time. That means present yourself. First thing, or the easiest thing you can do, is to turn the cameras on. Participate and focus at this point. No matter your age, even when you're young like this little dude out here, I love that because he's focused. So I know that you're here with us. So I see more people signing in. Tim Ying, because we have more than one Tim in the group right now. And Sarab, did I pronounce your name right? Sarab, thank you for the thumbs up. And I see Ryan is in the room now. We'll get started. So, hi Ryan, say hi to everybody in the room here. And mute yourself.
Yeah. Let's try that one now.
Is that better?
Yeah. Hi everyone. I appreciate the little bit of technical difficulty. I was just landing in St. John, New Brunswick, one of my big markets, and parking myself in an office here to meet you all this morning and have a little bit of a chat.
Thank you. It's exciting. I thought everybody would be in the middle of doing something, might be putting in an offer, and Ryan's traveling, and yet you're here investing your time with us. So I do appreciate that. I do want to send out my gratitude towards you. Our intention today is for you to have a great time with us and geek talk about investment. So I get that. At this point, you're thinking, hey, I'm perhaps here to just acquire some knowledge. As much as we want to give you everything within the time frame we had today, we're going to focus on what Ryan is an expert of, multifamily and financing as well. And most importantly, have fun, because really it's a safe environment. So anything goes, you're not gonna lose money here. So really, you're just simulating as an investor. And we're gonna go through some examples with you, and Ryan will present some of his actual examples, his deals as well. So we're all trainers in the group, and everybody at Trust Your Talent, by the way, are active investors. And we have so much fun sharing and so much fun investing as well. By the way, it's not always rainbows and butterflies, yet we do want to share our experience with you. So eliminate some of the bumps along the way. We get that acquisition of knowledge brings satisfaction. At least you want to be satisfied today. And it's really when you take action and apply the knowledge you learned that will bring you fulfillment. So action takers will always get awarded, by the way. And before we get started, first thing first, my lawyer will love me more, just like when we talk about our power team members. They're here to protect you. And our goal here is to share as investors. As much as I want to be everything for you, I want to have a license like some of you here. I know Tim Yang is a mortgage specialist, and they're accountants and lawyers or even contractors or licensed electricians who are here to be part of your power team. So as your mentor, Ryan and I and Tim here are aiming to help you check the blind spots and share our experiences, and Nina as a strategy coach as well, and Weddy as a student ambassador to share and support and look at it as an educated investor. So I love the baby here with the hat. Remember to always put your investor's hat on. So you're in a very powerful position because you're here really to leverage OPK, our knowledge, other people's time, and I respect your time as well. I see that Ronald is busy doing and using his measuring tape. Perfect. Multitasking here. And leverage other people's experiences as well. Of course, OPM, other people's money. And that is when Ryan will be talking about commercial mortgages. So this, by the way, will be recorded. And I do know that a lot of people are watching it on YouTube as well. And some people reach out to me saying, hey, I watched this YouTube. So if you're watching it, you can also send us comments and concerns and questions at the same time. Our goal is to help you map your destination. No matter who you are, where you are, I'll just share something I learned not too long ago. It doesn't matter where you start. We're all here with different backgrounds. However, our goal is to reach financial freedom and be active investors in 2 to 5 years. So whether your goal is to have residual income or to replace your income, and really most people here, when I talk to students or potential students, your goals are usually have time with my loved ones, or at least have the choice, the freedom to choose. We choose to be here because this is what we love to do. So I do want to hear why you're here today. If we don't have a chance to chat yet, reach out and type in why you're here today and what are the strategies that's going to get you there. So let's get us started. If you have no idea where you are right now, no idea what you want to focus, where you want to focus this year, something to help you get started. And this is what we do at Trust Your Talent. All of us every year look at what we want to focus on. So if you don't have a goal yet, you don't know what you want to focus on this year, think about, hey, is it health? Is it sustainability? Do you want to focus on joy, fulfillment, or impact? So for example, I want to focus on joy because last year I wanted to focus on fulfillment. Then I realized if I don't take care of myself, if I don't enjoy the journey, I'm not able to make an impact and reach my goal of fulfillment. So it really depends on where you are. For some people, perhaps you're facing some health issues or your family members. And you realize, hey, if you don't have health, you're not able to achieve anything else. That might be something you want to focus on this year. So just to get you started. And why is it so important? It really all starts from you. So when Ryan goes through, hey, our strategy or our system of starting from you, your goal, your SMP, you can ask us what SMP is if you don't know yet. Then you can decide how you want to get there. There are many different strategies you can focus on. And at Trust Your Talent, we are an academy. And all the trainers and strategy coaches, or even students, we have different strategies or experiences. And really, it depends on where you are and you want to achieve. And a lot of the times there are here newbies coming in thinking, hey, we're drinking from hose because it's so much information to absorb in one day, one session. I might be talking a little bit fast because we do want to cover the topic Ryan will be covering today. And we want to give you a place to get started. So call to action. If you don't have a strategy coach yet, take a picture of the QR code. One of the strategy coaches is here with us today. So Nina's here. So she will be supporting. If you have questions, she will also be answering the chat. So if you're thinking about it, it's only a dream. If you envision it, it's possible. If you schedule it, so the easiest thing, the fastest thing, we make it easy for you, is for you to schedule a call with your strategy coach. So if you already have a mentor and perhaps you have an aha moment, you can also reach out to one of us, your mentors, to help you and guide you along the way. And this is just one of the sessions. If you're here with us on Saturday, we've talked about creative financing, joint venture, and how it's gonna explode and help you reach that 1% wealth. And I also talked about if you're not in that 1 percentile, you might not be able to reach that financial freedom goal you wanna have. So we say FU money. If you're not, because even a millionaire is not enough today, by the way, guys. If you save up $1 million and want to have that FU money, you might not be able to at this point. However, all of us are aiming to be financially free, or whatever freedom means to you. Not just financially, also it might be spending time with your kids or deciding on how you want to spend your time. So today, September 24th, if you're gung-ho about learning more, we have another session tonight. So depending where you are, 7:30 EST. If you are where Weddy is in Alberta, 5:30. So you might be coming home from work, picking up your kids. Log in and learn more about what we have to offer. So even though this is virtual today, by the time we reach InvestEd in October from the 4th to the 6th, you're going to be meeting us all in person in 3D. So take a picture of the event on the left. And if you want to join us again tonight, take a picture of the QR code under webinar. So I know some of you actually registered for more than one session. I'm totally good with that. If you want to check out who we're about and which session you might be interested in attending. Really, the seminars are for investors who might have 3 or more properties looking to scale. So we also have basic workshop that's going to be running from October 4th to the 6th as well. If you're new and you want to learn about different strategies, again, we mentioned that we're an academy. So depending on where you are, you do have the choice of joining us. So Ryan, myself, and Gustavo, we're each going to have 2 different sessions. Take a picture of the topics you might be interested in attending. If you're coming in as a pair, so if you're investing and register with your spouse, your partner, your business partner, or even your brother, siblings, if you're investing together, you can divide and conquer. If you want to join, say, for example, both of Ryan's session and my session, you can be in the gift and the curse of the income approach, and you can also be learning about wealth building secrets of the top 1% real estate investor. So take a picture of the QR code. I know at this point you might be wondering, which one do I want to join? And since you're all action takers, I know you might want to join every single session I put on the screen today. So take a picture of it. If you're still wondering which one you should be joining, reach out to your strategy coaches. You might want to join, say, the workshop. So if you are a student in the community already, you can also utilize one of your course credits to join the sessions in the 3 days of our InvestEd. Okay. Any questions regarding the session towards the end? At least you can ask as long as I'm here. I'm going to stay till the end. If you have any questions, I'll stay as long as you have questions at the end of the session. So if you want to just put in the chat, Nina, Weddy, and Ryan or myself, when we get a chance to go through the chat, we'll also be answering your questions. During the discussion, just unmute yourself or put up a little hand up. So I know you can unmute yourself. I know you want to participate, which is great because remember, participate and take action is how you learn, how you'll remember how to learn. So I'll pass the mic to Ryan quickly. And this is what we're going to go through today. And for the past 15 minutes, I talked about who we are and why we are here. Throughout the session, you'll learn more about what Trust Your Talent Academy is about, what we offer, and how we all reach our financial freedom goals as an investor, how you can do the same as well. So Ryan, take the mic and teach us how we can reach that financial goal of 50,000 a month, by the way, not a year. So aim high, aim big. Ryan, I'm gonna make you co-host, and if you're not able to control the slide,
Wonderful.
just give me a hand up. I'll roll the slides for you.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so again, as Brooke said, really appreciate everyone being here today, spending some time with us. I'm going to take the opportunity, if it's all right with everyone, to talk a little bit about my sessions that are going to be happening at InvestEd, as Brooke just kind of talked about. So, myself and my wife, I got to give her credit. She's a big part of our business, and I always say, the brains of the operation. I truly mean that. She's way smarter than I am. So I hope she sees this recording. We'll have to send it to her. Anyway, so we've been at it for, March of this year marked 6 years. So, just a general show of hands. Everyone's in a job right now, or a good number of us in the crowd. Okay. I've had the opportunity to now leave, so that's, it's living a life by design. However, how many of you are 40 hours a week right now? 50? Just keep your hands up. 50? 60? 70? Okay. So I can tell you when I was in the job, I was regularly working 60 to 80 hours a week in sales. Very financially rewarding. However, it's that quintessential story. I had sold my soul for the dollar. And as some of you know, having heard my story prior, it's really, it really beat me up. I had a stress-induced heart attack at 38. And so I'm very glad that my wife and I had already started building our business in 2018. The heart attack happened in 2022, October of 2022. I will never, ever forget that. And that was very much the impetus or the final push to make me pull the plug. We had already reached the goals that we set forth at the beginning of our journey. I arbitrarily pushed the goalpost out, thinking that, we need more buffer. Anyway, needless to say, part of the lesson learned there that hopefully you can all benefit from is, and part of this is having an effective power team as well. Once you leave, you don't actually need as much money coming in through a corporation as you do when you're earning T4 income. And that was a massive wake-up call for me. So anyway, looking at the number on screen, how many people would be fairly happy with 50K a month coming into their business? You think you could live reasonably well at that point? You'd be pretty comfortable? Do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, with whomever you want? I think that's the goal, right? So I don't seem to be able to control the slides, Brooke, because I've been trying to click, but like the points are animated to come up. So maybe if you can help me with that. Okay. So again, both of these sessions, building your business 50K a month and then navigating the world of commercial financing are going to be elaborated on at length, obviously, at InvestEd. So I just wanted to give everyone a bit of a taste here. So, just go back to what I was kind of saying. And yes, math will definitely be elaborated on in this session. However, there's also a lot of the intangible things that we'll elaborate on in this session as well. And one of the things I think that's key in scaling a business to this kind of level, and it's very counterintuitive to the typical entrepreneurial brain. As entrepreneurs, we want to have our hands in every aspect of our business, right? We want control. And if anything, that actually hurts us. Because if you think about it, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, I'm not a property manager, I'm not a realtor, nor do I want to be all those things. If I were to try to be all those things, if I were to try to understand all those worlds, that is a very quick path to burnout. And that's exactly why is that counterintuitive to why we're building our businesses, right? We want more balance. We want time freedom, location freedom, the ability to do what we want when we want. And so what really drives a lot of decisions for me nowadays is truly understanding the value of your time. Okay. And at 50K a month, 600 grand a year, the chances are you're not working 40 hours a week. You're probably working much more. However, just for the sake of doing the math, let's look at that. Okay. So 40 hours a week, right? 52 weeks in a year. And let's just say an 8-hour workday. So again, both of those probably relatively impossible to make that kind of money in a job. We have 52 weekends, so that's 104 days. And a reasonable job will give you 3 weeks of vacation. So another 15 work days. So 119 days subtracted from 365 days. When you do the math, effectively your time is worth $305 an hour if you had built a business that's running at 50K a month. So now all of your decisions should be driven based on that number. Okay? How many of you like to garden? Show of hands. Ready? Okay. How many of you like to tinker on cars? I think Dave's going to put his hand up. Yeah, I knew that one was coming. So, I like both of those things. However, does it make sense for me at a value of $305 an hour to cut, trim, and weed my yard? Or does it make more sense for me to pay a landscaper $160 a month to come and do it once a week? These are the types of decisions that you should start making to make you most effective in your business. Things like meals as well. Some of you know that I've taken my fitness journey very seriously in the last year and a half, 2 years. When I looked at that, eating healthy is not an easy task, right? You got to buy healthy groceries. So I metricized it. I metricize everything in my life nowadays. So I was 2 to 3 hours a week to grocery shopping, and 2 to 3 hours a weekend to meal prep for the week. So when I crunched the number, that was 24 hours a month at $305 an hour. So it absolutely makes sense for me to go and spend, what I'm about $1,000 a month nowadays for pre-planned, macroed meals specific to my goals. My wife does the same thing now. So now all we have to worry about, thank goodness, is keeping our kiddos alive. It makes life a little bit easier for us, as parents of 2 young kids under 3, to be able to just boom, throw them in the microwave and they're done, but they're still healthy meals. Right? So just making these decisions based on an actual metric, because if you let your emotions drive whether or not you make a decision, often it will either go unmade or you likely won't make the right decision. So I find math never lies. It hasn't for thousands of years. So trust the math. So that's part of what we'll be talking about. If we can go to the next slide, bro. And the other thing is, you need to mind your own business. I love this quote. Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours. In today's society, there's so much swirling around, and there's so much comparison. If you're truly going to get down to brass tacks and build an efficient business, hone in and focus on what's entirely yours. I think we're missing some stuff on this slide, Brooke. Sorry, if we want to just try to keep clicking. Strange. Sorry, I'll have to fix those transitions. Apologies. Maybe one more. There we go. So other things that we'll talk about. Oh, there we go. In gaining efficiency, we want to have consistency and clear structure. Is Ray in the room today, Brooke, or is it just Tim?
Just
Ray's here
me.
too, so he'll
Just
enjoy
Tim.
this. Okay. You probably heard this story though, Tim, indirectly from Ray. So way back on our mentorship, Shefali and I, both strong personalities. Those that know will attest to that. And we were interviewing a potential accountant, and we had yet to refine ourselves in our business. That was why we were on mentorship, why we had invested in ourselves. And we were trying to talk over each other. We were butting heads. And we get back into the car. So I'm driving. Shefali's in the front passenger seat, Ray's in the back seat behind me. And he literally slaps me in the back of the head. And he says, "You guys look like fools in there." Because we were talking over each other in a business meeting with a potential new team member. And he says, "I'm not a marriage counselor, so I won't comment on how stuff like that could potentially affect your marriage. But I can tell you that it certainly didn't make you look professional from a business perspective." And he went on, and one of the biggest lessons we learned that day was define clear structure. Have a very candid chat with each other. And this is particularly important for those of us that are in a situation where our business partners are also our bedroom partners, spouses. And that's another session that's going to be at InvestEd, right? Investing with your loved one, with your partner, which I think is a very crucial topic. I would certainly have you consider being in on that session if that's part of your situation. And so we did. We sat down, and I'm the sales guy. I was in sales for 18 years. So, and I love people. I truly have a genuine interest in the human condition. So we figured, okay, I will build the team. I will find deals. I will find money. Shefali's an engineer by trade. She's completely about process refinement. She's got her Kaizen, her Lean Six Sigma black belt, ISO. So she holds our team accountable on the projects and pores over reports and asks questions and often does find money, whether it was intentional or not, right? That something was maybe missed or double charged. So clear, concise, consistent structure. Have standard operating procedures so that when you get to a point where you're hiring, they can be brought on easily, right? Here's how we communicate. Here's how we take care of an initial tenanting. Here's the final walkthrough procedure. Have your forms, right? Have your defined tasks and time block everything, not just business, literally everything. Because then you can truly compartmentalize and make the time for what matters most. I think everyone on the team will attest. I think I was one of the people to kind of start doing that. I block my family time in the team calendar, so people know. I'm very clear about that, and it's a non-negotiable. Right? We need to create those boundaries. Otherwise, especially as entrepreneurs, it's all too easy to work overtime, so to speak, and that, although it may be productive and to some degree, it is a clear path to burnout. So you need to create some things that fill up your cup and energize you. And then, you are your biggest asset. So be in the best shape you can be as well, right? Because not only obviously is it great to be comfortable in your own skin and confident, but for those of you that are on that journey, I know there's some of us that take it seriously, Weddy, I know you're pretty into fitness. Tim Ying, it looks like you're a pretty fit guy. It's the intangibles that come with it. Having the mental clarity, having the increased energy levels, having the ability to better cope with stress. That all comes from the physical fitness, and that is crucial in business. So we really elaborate on some of that. And then again, playing into valuing your time. When do you choose to delegate and outsource tasks? That one thing I loved from 10X is easier than 2X. Great book, in my opinion, was that 80-20 approach, and something that you should reevaluate every couple of years, because your skill sets, as you delegate the 80% that truly is more mundane and doesn't fill you up, you get to hyper focus on the 20%. And with time, there is more that you can start to shed. So you keep doing that 80-20 until you get to a point where you are operating at such a high efficiency, your business is just exploding to the tune of 50K plus a month. Next slide, please. We'll bring up, if you just want to click a couple of times for the transitions. And a key part of getting there, one more, I think, Brooke, is diversifying your revenue streams, not having all your eggs in one basket. And it's okay if you love your job, or maybe like our other strategy coach Andrew Cowie, you come to learn that you love flipping, which is more of an active stream. It's fine. You can still do some of that, but you want to look at filling all of the buckets. And one thing I'll say is there's a huge difference between being rich and being wealthy. Wealth is what lasts. Wealth is what will pay you day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, even your future generations, your kids' kids. Being rich, having a couple of $1,000,000 in the bank, that can go away very quickly. That can be blown. Having passive income that comes in every month, whether you're working for it or not, that is wealth. Not to mention what I like to call the quiet giant, right? That equity gain that continues to build over time, the portfolio, principal pay down, appreciation over time, whether it's forced appreciation when we look at, rehabbing distressed properties, the BRRRR process, if you will, infills, development. You want to look at all of this. It's natural as young investors, those first coming into the game, that we obviously want to produce as much passive income as we can so that we can exit the JOB. I get that. Real estate is a great vehicle for that. Another one, obviously, that many of us have already talked about and will be another session at InvestEd is paper assets. It has become an immensely powerful strategy for people to ramp up their passive income in a real hurry. So as you see, there's going to be a ton of valuable stuff at InvestEd. So, really hope if you haven't already got your ticket, we do really hope to see you there, because I think it'll add a ton of value. If we can go to the next slide, please. And another session I'm going to talk about, and part of my roadmap, as some of you know, multis are my jam. That's my main strategy, and that's really what Shefali and I have built a ton of our portfolio on. At this point, we're well over 200 doors across the country, approaching 300, all to the tune of about 6.5 years. So it's just working the system, trusting the system, leveraging other people's stuff, other people's money, other people's time, other people's knowledge, other people's expertise. You cannot do this alone. Somebody else on the team, I think it was Andrew, said it the one time, and I love it. He says, real estate is not a me business. It's a we business. It has to be. You cannot do this alone. Okay. But so everybody's familiar with CMHC, relatively, Canada Mortgage and Housing. Okay. Great products that they have. However, they ask for your life story, your firstborn child, and your left kidney, it seems, when you're doing an application. So it can be pretty difficult sometimes. And that's where people like a wonderful mortgage broker can come in handy. But it's our job to also have a little bit of knowledge. And fortunately, I'm wanting to share all of that knowledge with all of you at the conference, because I've had the ability now not only to turn around a good number of distressed multis, stabilize them, and refinance them to get all the money out, but now also exercising in purpose-built multis in Edmonton. Different programs, and both with their own intricacies. And so we're really going to get into that. We're going to look at not only CMHC, but we're also going to look at some of the more unorthodox methods as well. So we'll look at bridge loans and hard money. There may be a time where the right opportunity could be executed on with money like that, more expensive money. You need getting in, and even the lender will ask you that. That's the thing, right? They want to know before they even extend the money to you. Okay, the typical questions that we always talk about: how much in, how much out, how long, and what's my collateral? So you have to have multiple exit plans, ideally, before you even get into the property. But if it lines up, if in doing your due diligence and talking to your mentor, there's a story to be told about potentially doing that, when you can be super liquid like that or get the money in a hurry, that can potentially give you points of leverage to get into that opportunity quickly. So always think about that. Never be afraid. Never look at how much it's going to cost you. Look at how much it's going to make you. So we'll really dive into that. We'll also look at traditional financing, of course. A lot of people, and right now in the world of multis, it does seem that on entry, traditional financing is probably going to be where a lot of us need to go, because CMHC underwriting timelines have pushed back out. Some of us might remember that a few months back, it was a wonderful announcement. They made an announcement that they'll now allow for refinance proceeds to go towards paying out stakeholders in the purchase, shareholders in the corporation or unapproved lenders. That was not the case for a while. However, what that did is it had a whole new flood of refinance applications come in. So all those new underwriters they had hired to compress the timelines for files has now been pushed back out to about 4 to 6 months. And when you're trying to acquire a resale multi, there's not a lot of sellers that are going to want to wait 4 to 6 months for a closing. So we're likely going to have to enter in with traditional financing, stabilize that building, and then look at CMHC on the back end, which we will also dive into. We'll look at the standard program and we'll look at MLI Select, which has become really popular. And some people might say, with MLI Select being so wonderful, why would we even look at a standard program? Well, that's why I actually titled the session The Gift and the Curse, because when you look at how multis are evaluated, commercial multis, 5+ doors, it's the income approach. And one of the key verticals in how you're earning points under MLI Select is affordability. The program is geared to produce affordable housing in Canada. And those rents that you submit during your application have to be locked in for 10 years. And they cannot be increased by any more than inflation, basically, CPI, the Consumer Price Index. So that may actually hurt you to be tied to that. Okay? So there might actually be a case for the standard MLI program. And we'll talk about that in depth in the session. And of course, we'll do case studies on both the resale multis as well as purpose-built multifamily. We're going to have a lot of breakout exercises in that session and a lot of takeaways in the student workbook and extra resources for you. So really, really encourage you to take a look at that one if that's a world you want to play in, multi-unit. So we'll also dive into the application because, as I said, it's quite, when you first see the laundry list of materials that you'll need for an application, it can be daunting. However, break it down. I always like to say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Don't focus on the bigger picture. Take the first step. And your mortgage broker will help you with this. So we'll talk about, who do you need on your team to make this happen? Learning to think like CMHC. So understanding how the underwriters think, because they're actually fairly transparent with their information. And that's part of what we'll look at too, is all of the reference sheets that they provide online. You just need to know where to find them. And thankfully, I've downloaded them all for you. You'll get them at the session. Becoming familiar with the application and organizing your information. So once you've done it once, the process does not change. And that's part of gaining efficiency and scaling your business to 50K a month. Things like whatever you choose, Dropbox, Google Drive, whatever it is. Have a cloud-based service. Store your files there. And so things like your NOAs, your notices of assessment for taxes, just update them every year. You're going to know that they want the last 2 years of NOAs. You're going to know that they want the last 2 years, or sorry, at least the last year of your corporate tax return, your T2. You're going to know they want certain things. So every time a new one is completed, delete the old one, upload the new one, and have it there. I've shared stories in my course on multiple occasions. I've closed on properties while I've been on vacation in London, England, in Cambodia, because I just have the files in the cloud. Click, click, click. There you go, Mr. Broker. Make our application. It's all about efficiency, because the great deals don't wait for anyone. You got to jump. As Brooke said at the start, you got to act. You have to take action. Right? So we'll look at that. And then we'll actually break out into exercises to help produce some of the key documents. Things like the organizational charts for your corporation, because they want to see how it all funnels up, who the shareholders are. Your net worth statement, that is crucial to have. They want to see that. And obviously, as we grow, the hope is that net worth grows too, that equity bucket. Right? So we'll dive into those. I'm really looking forward to this session. So I guess, I mean, at this point, just wanted to kind of give you a taste and hope that I will see you all, in person in the room. Please promise not to heckle me too much. I'll answer all your questions, I promise. But I think at this time, if I'm not mistaken, Brooke, we'll open it up to some questions.
We'll open it up.
And give, yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to share, what are you most excited about MUR as a strategy? And Ryan will also answer questions on why he is so excited to be the trainer for the strategy. So I see a lot of people nodding heads while Ryan was going through his session. Morgan, can I ask you to unmute yourself? Ask your questions.
And Guo, yes, I just saw his question. Guo, yes, both of those sessions, scaling your business to 50K a month and the income approach, the gift and the curse of the income approach, those, if you saw the schedule on the earlier slide, are going to be part of that seminar pass. Those are 2 seminars that I'm doing at InvestEd. So we'll be diving a lot deeper on both of those. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. I'm attending that, so all good. Thanks.
Thank you.
So thank you for the question, Jordan. And Morgan, unmute yourself.
The most excited about MUR is the refinance part. That means like my money coming back.
It certainly is a very powerful strategy in that respect, right? And I think the focus needs to be, and why we're all here for education, I would hope, is the value add multi. I think without education, a lot of people tend to think, oh, I'm just going to buy turnkey, it'll be easier. The problem with that is well, I wouldn't say never, but your ability to propel and grow will be much slower, because the money is made in real estate by solving issues and creating value. And if you're buying turnkey, somebody else has already solved all the issues and you're now paying top dollar for it. So your money is going to be stuck in that asset much longer because you don't have a lot of value add opportunity. So don't be afraid to, well, I was going to say, you don't necessarily need to get your hands dirty. We find the right people to help, to get their hands dirty and help you do the work. But focus on the value add. And then you're right, Morgan, you absolutely will have the ability, say 2, 3 years on any building to turn around and pull your investment back out. And that, I'll answer the question to some degree too. That's one of my favorite parts about MUR as a strategy as well, is, when you can under promise and over deliver for your investors, you get their money out and then they come back to you. They're like, wow, Morgan, you really delivered. Tell you what, this was a really enjoyable process. Let's go do it again. And they give you back the money. That's a great position to be in.
And just want to add to that, we often say, hey, once you get to refinance, asset for free and income for life. So once you rehab the property, like we always say, we are problem solvers. So you don't buy the shiny object, you look for opportunities where you can add value. And like Ryan said, once you get to refinance, and a lot of the times you can pay your investors back, then they realize, hey, this is the type of strategy I can grow my wealth with. So be that top 1%. Thank you, Morgan, for sharing why you love the strategy. Anybody else want to share? So if not, I'm going to volunteer Weddy, because I know this is one of the strategies you're focusing on as well.
Yes. What I like from it, because you base your borrowing power against the performance of the building. So if you can find property that performing, it's just unlimited mortgage you can get and unlimited number of properties you can get. Thank you.
Yeah, great point, Weddy. And I think that's part of what led to the curse components actually of my title in the session. You know, it is a gift in that again, you always, math doesn't lie. So every dollar that you improve the income, the net operating income of that building will improve the value. However, the curse side of it, if you will, on entry, depending on how distressed the asset is, especially financially, the thing you need to realize is you may need a little more money to get into the building. Right? So that's where the education, where the mentor can help, because that's a whole different sell. It's still something you can sell, an opportunity. However, you need to really paint the story. And I think, Weddy, we've had those conversations, right? It might be distressed on entry and the performance may not be stellar, which would result in you getting a lower loan to value on your loan and more required capital. However, as long as you can paint that turnaround story by having the right conversations with your property manager, with your contractor, with your mortgage broker, and you can then say, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Investor, it's only a 2-3% return right now. However, we have a very clear turnaround plan. 24 months, that's part of our ask. That's why we're asking for an extra, say, $300,000 beyond our required closing fees, because we're going to really kickstart the renovation process, turn this around. Our rents are going to go from here to here, and therefore our value is going to go here. We'll refinance, get the money out, right? So it's one of the most powerful things. And I would say too, I would encourage people to think about going bigger sooner, because the one thing you need to think about when you play in the residential space, depending on the resources you have at hand, not only do you need to find capital, you may also need to find mortgageability, right? And among the investor community, mortgageability is actually harder to come by than you think. When you're in a community in a room full of entrepreneurs, a lot of times their T4 income is very, very low. So mortgageability may not be a thing. In the commercial space, the multi-unit residential space, I know it seems oversimplified, but all you have to do is find money. Mortgageability is removed from the equation. The building qualifies for itself. And money is plentiful. Liquid cash, RSPs, TFSAs, HELOCs, any number of vehicles can be used for cash. Just think about that.
And a lot of the times we say, hey, money will chase great deals. So really, money is never a concern. As an investor, if you can find income property. By the way, MUR stands for multi-unit residential. I like the term income properties instead, because that means you're generating income from it. And I want to take a step back, because you're probably thinking there's so many strategies out there. So why would multifamily be a good strategy in my portfolio? Like Ryan said, I look at it as a long-term strategy. So perhaps now the mortgage qualification will take longer. Perhaps you need some time to rehab, or especially when Ryan gets into infill multifamilies, think about the timeline. How does that fit your portfolio or your current situation? So, we are a community. I know a lot of students work together. So if you have an amazing deal, we're all educated investors. People can see the money, and we all want to participate in a great project, a great deal. I just want to add that too. Hey, why are we so excited about the strategies? Because like Ryan said, you might want to go big when you're starting. I'll be totally honest. I started having a lot of deals in my portfolio until I'm really leveraging and really understanding that money is not a limitation, that I start to see my portfolio grow. And I just want to share that before we get to the next question. Anything to add? Anybody else with questions, comments? Steve.
I was just curious, like as far as a new build, say 8, 12 units versus, like I'm finding, especially like in my area out here, I'm just west of Edmonton. So when I'm seeing all these multifamily unit buildings come up, they're all they're built in the 60s. So, now we're talking, 40, 60, they're 50, 60 years old. Some have been rehabbed and some are, maybe they had new cupboards and such, or a new roof, but overall, I mean, they're still an old building. So, and then when they only got like a 5 cap and you're trying to, you look at, say, like a traditional finance, well, I mean, the numbers, they don't make sense. So where, if I start looking at a new build and doing the MLI select on a 50-year term, well, I mean, I'm 50 years old, so I'll never see I'll never see it paid for, so it's like I'm just curious to see like what, if I was to get into this space, like what direction should, I guess there is no clear right direction, is there?
Brooke, do you want to take that or you want me to chime in? Sure.
I'll start. By the way, we say it depends, right? A lot of the times it depends on the situation and it depends on your business decision as well. So I'm not worried about my mortgage amortization is 40 years or so, because it's really about what it brings to you in your portfolio, your income, and if that's what you're looking for, the cash flow. So instead of looking at, hey, I'm taking on a mortgage that's 40 years or so, I might not see it. By the way, we're very close in age, Dave. So when you mention that, I get that. At the same time, and Ryan, you can speak to that as well. I look at it because I have kids now, and one of them is an adult already. So when you structure your portfolio or your organization, it can even be passed on. So it could be generational wealth, even when you are really thinking about long-term.
I mean, my kids are, I'm a late boomer, so to speak. My kids are 6 and 8. So like, I have no idea if they're going to be interested in this down the road, So, and when I look at this MLI select thing of a 50-year term, well, if I don't see any equity for 10 to 15 years and I don't have a lot of money in it, I mean, I've been in it long enough where I can see a market turn in a year, where all of a sudden there could be some depreciation and all of a sudden I've got no equity left in this $2.5 million building, and and it might not even be generating any cash flow. I mean, things can change so fast where, I guess that would be kind of one of my concerns. I mean, if I was 25 years old and no kids and I can work 14 hours a day, hey, great, not a big deal. I'll take that on, but it's just one of my thoughts, I guess. So
Yeah. So Ryan, you can take that. Nina, as a strategy coach,
Yeah.
I think a lot of students come to you for guidance as to what path they should take. So after Ryan answers Dave, Nina, maybe you can have a say on how you usually guide students when they're on different paths. Ryan, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think, I would also say it depends. And I mean, I would kind of question back to you, Dave, one, what buckets are you most focused on filling? Is it your equity bucket or your portfolio, or is it passive cash flow? Right. So different investors are at different stages in their career and want to focus on filling one or the other. Traditionally, a lot of people in this room and why they go in search of education is filling the passive bucket so they can leave the job, right? Mm-hmm. So there's that. And I mean, when you talk about a market adjusting and values trending down, why does that matter in most instances, right? As long as your asset is cash flowing, it's kind of like trading as well, right? Yes, you're going to have some red in your ledger. You're going to have unrealized losses. It only becomes a loss if you sell.
True.
Don't sell. Keep reaping the cash flow month over month. Let it continue to pay the principal down. And at some point, like it went down, it's going to come back up. Right? So it's all on how you structure the investments. And I agree. Like, I mean, I had that conversation with someone actually earlier today. MLI Select is a great program, having the ability to get up to 95% loan to value and 50-year amortizations. But just because you can get it doesn't mean you should take it. I would argue the amortization, yes, it's going to do wonderful things for your cash flow. Push your amortization out as far as your economic life on your building will allow you to. But for example, our more recent infill project that we're undergoing right now, yes, we could get up to 95% loan to value. And as the numbers now tell us, that would allow us, in addition to our initial invested capital, it would allow us to take another $365,000 out. However, then out of a purpose-built eightplex, brand new, we'd only be reaping about a little under $1,100 a month, $1,083 a month. That's not stellar, right?
Yeah.
We'd have cash in hand, and that's always the question, and there's always an inverse relationship for loan to value or debt versus cash flow. So when we crunched the numbers, we saw, okay, we only need 83% loan to value to get all of our money out. So now asset for free income for life, and our monthly cash flow is $2,500 a month now. So that's the scenario we like, and I mean that's all a part of why we're here, getting educated and being educated professional real estate investors, is having that ability to crunch the numbers, run all the various scenarios, and have the candid conversations with our investors and see what they prefer.
Is that one?
I don't know if that answers.
Is that property we were talking about over beer there a couple months back on the west end?
Yeah, the one in Westmount. Yeah, in Westmount. Yeah. Right. And so that's I think, in my opinion, the biggest thing you got to look at, right, is just because you can take up to 95% in 50 years doesn't mean you have to. Right. So you crunch the numbers and you make a collective decision with everyone involved in the process.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have
Thank you.
options.
Yeah, always. Nina, unmute yourself.
Hi guys, and it's so nice to see so many familiar faces and new faces, and I always love it when we get together and chat and brainstorm. And at the end of the day, I mean, all of us, we're on different kind of points in our lives where we're really pursuing different goals. And I think Weddy put it best in the chat there. What are you trying to accomplish? And I find this past weekend, a few of us were at REICon in Edmonton, which was awesome. And again, speaking to so many different investors, some people who are just starting out, some people who've been doing it for 10, 15 plus years, kind of really touching base to say, what are you doing this for? Like, why are you investing? What are you trying to reach or achieve? And if you ask me, and I know Ryan and Brooke have seen me come up from my junior infancy stages as an investor, over 5 years ago, what I was accomplishing at that point in time as an individual, as a professional, even as an investor, is very different than what I'm looking to achieve today. So really, when we think about what strategy should I do, which way should I go, I really go back to say, okay, what do you want life to look like in the next 2 or 3 years? Is it saying, okay, I want to do these new strategies and continue to grow my portfolio, but for what? And if we can identify for what you're doing that for, how does that feel? How does that look? How does that taste? And then we can take that and put a number to it. Then we really look back and say, great, based on that number, what strategies based on your time, based on your resources, based on your experience, can you leverage to hit that number the fastest possible with as much control and with as much security and confidence as you possibly can? Because, I mean, how many of you agree, and you can put your hand up if you do, how many of you agree that once you hit your first milestone goal, let's say it's $20,000 a month passively from your portfolio, you now feel more comfortable to achieve 30, 40, 50K, right? And we always say whether the market
proof of concept.
It's confidence, right? If you know how to hit that first goal, and I'll be honest, 5 years ago, my goal was replace half my income, $5,000 a month. And when I did that within a year and a half, how much more confident do you think I felt when it came down to saying, okay, now I want to replace all of my income? And so let's really boil it down to say, you know, whether you're talking about a 50-year plan, let's break that down. What do you want to achieve in the next 2-3 years? And it doesn't matter if you've been investing for a couple of months or if you've been investing for several years and you've not moved the needle on your actual passive income goal. And so I don't know if that helps answer the kind of the question you're looking for, Brooke. However, I'm a big believer in saying, let's really do a check in the moment. What does 2 years look like from now? Look like, feel like, taste like, and you can pivot. Let's put a number to that. And what are the 2-3 strategies that are going to get you there? Because whether the market's going up, down, or sideways, and we can't control if COVID were to happen again, we can't control if who wins the election, we can't control whether the interest rates go up or down, and you know, we can hope and pray, but that's really not going to get us so far. We can't control any of those variables, but what we can control is what strategies we are going to continue to put in our tool belt and continue to grow as investors. And there's so many times when I hear, well, the interest rates and this, that, okay, great, yeah, it happened to all of us. I mean, it's, you know, it's not just happened to a single person investor, it's happened to all of us. However, I can speak on, you know, behalf of myself and definitely on behalf of the team. How many of us have stopped investing just because the interest rates have changed or just because COVID happened? On the contrary, my wealth multiplied through these situations, and that allows me to help more people, by the way. And so that's where I would say is, you know, really leverage your time, the conversations, the discussions, invest to learn what else you can do with your portfolio so you can scale and exponentially multiply your cash flow and your wealth in the next year to 2 years, so that you can look back at this conversation and say, great, now what am I resetting to and realigning on my next 2-year goal, and have it growing. I mean, life is about growth, and we can either choose to grow or we can disintegrate. So which side do you want to be?
And I just want to add 1 or 2 points. So Dave, I don't think that's a limitation. That's actually a motivator. If you're thinking, I don't have a lot of time to invest, so let's learn about how to invest efficiently. Even down to what Ryan talked about, organization and building your team. It sounds basic. It's across the board, regardless of what strategies or strategy you're going to start from. So if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to have to wait a year or so to stabilize, there are other strategies out there. So like Ryan said, there are different buckets. Fill in different buckets of income. You have kids, I'm sure you want to have legacy and something that will sustain your wealth. So make this your strategy to help you create that wealth, to create that portfolio income, for example. And you can look into different strategies as well.
Add one more thing there, Brooke, that's like coming to me now, that like I love chats like this where we typically as investors, we like to have multiple projects on the go, where if one of our projects are taking some time to stabilize or there's a long-term trajectory to it, we have our other, I don't want to call it smaller strategies, but a little bit more active where it can support that hold in terms of that long-term vision. So whether it's through rent to owns, whether it's through stabilized assets and multi-units, whether it's through short-term rentals, whether it's through paper assets trading, that again, we're talking about being so passive, you can afford to continue to live life on your own terms, design that life while you're supporting this long-term asset in its more long-term plan. However, if you're fully invested in this one project, all resources, time, everything tied up, and we're looking at a 10, 20, 30, 40, 50-year timeline, and we're waiting for that jackpot to happen, maybe that's not the best and most efficient use of your resources. And maybe that's where we really have to do a reality check and see, is this best serving you today and then for your immediate goals, or is there a way to diversify? And that's what we're really big on, is that diversification component there.
Thank you, Nina. So I know we went through quite a lot of mindset and who you are and basically set your foundations. And I do want Ryan to have a chance to talk about how to prepare yourself as an attendee. So the first thing first, I already mentioned earlier, take a picture of the QR code and speak to your strategy coaches as to, hey, where you should start. And I know some of you here are already students in the community. So Richard, I do want to hear what you have to share. First thing, I want to hear from Ryan, how do you think attendees could best prepare for the session? So this is live online today, and we're going to see you in person live at InvestEd.
Yeah, so this is, I guess, is thinking a little bit beyond InvestEd into the following month in Edmonton there for the Income Properties multi-unit field trip. And I love the whole concept. I mean, I know as a team internally, we had some chats for a while, and you think about anyone that's ever been to more formal education, college, university, you got your 100 level courses, and then you got your 200, 300 level courses. And as our community grew, as people matured with us, I knew that there was going to be a desire for those 200 level courses, right? We all grow together, so we need to add more value. We need to provide more. And when we look at the live session, that's like your 100 level course. We're laying the foundation. We're learning the concepts. However, as many of us have said, if it was just as easy as the acquisition of knowledge, we'd all be billionaires and have six-pack abs. And I have neither. I'm working on it. It's the application of said knowledge where the magic really happens. And that's why I'm so excited about the field trip, because that truly is what it is. We're applying the knowledge. We're getting into the trenches together. We're turning over rocks. We're using the concepts. And one thing I'm excited about, some of you know my previous life, I came indirectly from the construction industry, the mechanical side of it. And that's value I love to bring to my mentees when we're in the field together, is looking at mechanicals, looking at building science, because one, it helps to ensure that by the time you stabilize it, you're going to have a wonderful performing building. But two, when there are deficiencies in those areas, those are typically the bigger expenses, the capital expenditures we talk about. And those are your points of leverage to make money in the buy. So we always try to uncover those. So we're definitely I'm gonna show you how to really scrutinize a property and look at it. So how you can best prepare, and I'm excited that Richard's going to be talking right after me, because he's one of my ambassadors. And thank you again, Richard, for everything you've already done and will be doing. We're going to be putting out a homework list towards the end of October. On purpose. We don't want to leave too much time, because then we know it's human nature. You'll probably just slack and leave it to the last minute anyway. So we want to put a little bit of pressure on you. It's going to come out towards the end of October, and there's going to be a bit of a list. Items we're going to ask you to check into with respect to market dynamics. So it would probably mean you're going to make some phone calls to property managers and mortgage brokers and realtors. And then we can come armed for a productive conversation. So the pre-session is going to happen just before the trip on the evening of the 7th. So it's nice and fresh in our minds. And that homework you will have been asked to do the week prior, bring that to the session, and we're going to apply it. I'm going to do my best to actually have the mogul team who we're collaborating with send us a couple of the properties prior that we'll be seeing. And we're already going to start the analysis. We're going to jump into the analysis spreadsheet. We're going to crunch the numbers. We're going to look at how we could potentially make some creative offers and hypothesize or guess about how we can improve that building and what that's going to do to the value on the back end. So we're already going to start applying and make it so that we're most fruitful when we're on the bus, because we've already dove into how to do the analysis and how to think on the fly, and it's super fresh in all our brains. So my hope is that is going to make us all the most productive and able to collaborate as a group, because I'd love to see that, people within the group making an offer together, trying to bring together some type of joint venture partnership or forming a new corporation to buy something. So really excited for that.
Thank
so
you,
do
Ryan.
Your homework. Yes.
Thank you. Richard, unmute yourself. I know you wanted to share with your hand up.
I just wanted to share. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to share follow up what Nina said about diversification and putting eggs in different basket, which Ryan also mentioned. As an example, I have a rent-to-own project that's not turning well, that I may likely need to take back my property and get my eviction lawyer involved, and it may not turn out pretty. I could be stressed about it all day, every day. At the same time, it's costing me $1,400 a month, a cost that I can make up easily by picking up 2 or 3 more lease options by the end of the year. It's not something that I want to be stressed about, because guess what? I am in Berlin. I'm calling from Berlin. I'm having dinner right now at a fancy German restaurant. It's about diversification. It's about focusing on the revenue growth, because as business owners, as investors, the sky is the limit in terms of how much we can bring to our family's bank account every month. So I just want to echo that point. And sometimes passive income is also a mindset. If you're stressed all about it all day, every day, it's not passive. Versus, you know what? It's a loss that I'm undertaking every month. It's a process that I need to follow through, just like any other business processes that I conduct on a monthly basis. So I just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Richard, for sharing your location freedom with us as well. So again, committed. I know you love the community. Regardless of where you are, you're willing to join us and you do want to share. And thank you for contributing as well, for giving back. Nina.
And Richard, I love it. I love your location freedom. And that's something that is actually so powerful, something you just said about passive income. And I think when you get through a certain level of confidence, when you know how to make your money work for you, or help your investors' money work for them, and you make money at the same time, you're not worried about trying to capture every little opportunity in desperation because you don't know where the next dollar is going to come from. So there's something so powerful of being so confident, where you might choose to not risk an investment, or not be so desperate to make something work, because you're very confident in your skill set of capturing the next opportunity. So again, when we think about being in that really empowered mindset financially, it's not being desperate or in scarcity of where your next dollar is coming from. You know where your next, you know how to create that yourself, and being in that position of power and control, and in the driver's seat of that. So I love that. You're not worried about the slight costs that you're incurring right now. Your portfolio can support it, and it's on to the next. And that's what we keep doing as investors, not getting stumbled so far that we can't get up, failing forward.
Thank you, Nina, for sharing. I do want to circle back. And all we're talking about is our goal of help you as well reach your financial independence goal in 2 to 5 years. So keep that in mind. And Ryan.
Yeah, and I appreciate, Richard, you saying what you did. I think it's the perfect example. I've often said, you know, obviously Nina, myself, Brooke, Tim, everyone in the room from the team, we love sharing our knowledge and helping you all get better and be better and scale out sustainable businesses. However, there's also so much to be learned from everybody else in the community. We all have our own diverse backgrounds and skill sets. So, you know, network and listen to people like Richard, to people like Weddy, to people like Dave, who've been in the community for a long time. But one thing that spurred in me, you know, it's not a matter of if, it's only not a matter of, if, it's only a matter of when you're going to face those difficult situations when you're in this game long enough. And I've been very transparent. You know, we're suffering what would have been at an earlier point in our career pretty devastating, you know, losses from some private lending. I mean, worst case scenario, we're probably going to lose just shy of $1 million. And that was the decision that needed to be made. I mean, there was a brief moment in time when we were first looking at it, and I said, well, maybe I'm going back into the sales world. And I took some interviews. And then, as I said earlier, I love math. I'm a very, very analytical guy. So I went to the numbers and I said, okay. And I was getting offers for jobs, you know, jumping back in $250,000 a year would have been great. Great money, you know, great safety net, I guess I should say. But I was looking at what I was going to have to trade for that and what it was going to do to my business and my balance, which I so fiercely want to protect with my family. I want to be present for my kids and my wife. And none of that would have happened. So I had to make a crucial decision. Right? And that was something I learned from my high performance coach, who's going to be at InvestEd as well, Ava Medilek. She's going to be on one of the panels. She's wonderful. And an aha moment that I had at the end of one of my sessions the one day says, when you face challenges, you have a crucial decision to make. You can either give up or you can skill up. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I made the decision. I'm like, hey, clearly there's a gap here. You know, why are we failing? And it, you know, to me, it occurred that we needed to diversify more in our business, right? Because at that point, we really only had income properties, some private lending, well, and now paper assets. Like how can we grow again? So we decided to pivot. Whole new market, whole new strategy, Edmonton for infills. And I had to skill up. I had to find the right people. I had to have the right conversations, right? And I think that, you know, that's a cool piece of mindset to really think about. You know, when you face a challenge, that's the thing. Do you give up or do you skill up? And I know giving up is not in my vocabulary, and it seems like it's very similar for most people in this room. That's why we're here as a community.
Thank you, Ryan, for sharing. Anybody want to add to that? Because I think we touch upon a lot of the mindset pieces, and a lot of it is really about how you position yourself, or how trained, how strong, how well positioned you are as an investor. So even though, like we said, it's not always rainbows and butterflies, overall, as long as your portfolio works for you, in the grand scheme of things, there's always challenges. Sometimes when I dealt with tenant issues in Ontario, I question my decision as an investor as well. Do I want to continue to invest, or do I pivot, get into different markets? So even though we say, hey, we're going to help you reach your financial freedom in 2 to 5 years, a big part of it is really, like Ryan said, about sustainability. Even if you hit that goal, how do you continue to be strong, to survive as an investor in different markets, in different situations? So I love our discussion, because I also realized, hey, more people turn on your camera after Ryan and Nina and Richard shared. So thank you, everybody. I do want to leave some time for you to ask questions about InvestEd, because we're very excited about it, to see you all in person. I put down some of the ROI, return on investment mindset. And after our discussion, I realized there's so many more points I should add to the list. So you either give up or you skill up. That's one of the things I do want to add to the list. If you're coming to InvestEd and learn about different strategies, or like we said, even if you're investing already, we're offering you the seminar sessions to be designed for event investors as well. So it's not about how much it costs you. We repeat that over and over again. It's about how much it makes you. I'm going to add to also how much you can keep. So it's also not about how much you're going to make, about how much you can keep as well. Invest in yourself. I know you already did. I see Ronald is working hard. You invest your time with us, even though you had to work on your JOB. I love that, because even though you didn't say that, everybody, I do want to hear from you towards the end when we're opening up for any questions, anything you want to share with us, because you believe that you're your biggest asset. And I think that's why you invest your time, invest in your tuition to be here with us today. So good deals are found, great deals are created. In my session, in Ryan's session, and also Gustavo's session, when it comes to deal structure or contract or mortgageability, is how you create great deals. So money will chase your deals. So money will chase good deals. Money will run for amazing deals. And this is what we're about. I love our community because for us, it's another extended family. So you see us working together as a team. For us, it's be about it. I know sometimes you might hear negative voices even coming from your family or your close friends. Your circle might change. Our point is, be about it, take action. I think, especially if you're parents, when you're showing examples, that's the most important thing. Be about what you say you're going to be. An amazing investor, whether your goal is to build a legacy for your family or just to get out of your job. So true freedom for us, we kept talking about time, how Richard is here spending time with us even though he's on vacation. And I know Ryan is traveling for his mentorship as well. He's here spending time with whoever he wants to spend time with, and that's us. However form, either we have to do it online because everybody's everywhere, regardless of your timeline. I mean, it's past my lunchtime and you might have to go back to work after lunch break. Regardless, you choose to spend your time with us. I want to send out our appreciation for that as well. However you want it, whenever you want to as well. We talk about FU money. When Ryan mentioned that 50K, I hope that's enough for you to have enough FU money to decide however you want to spend your time with. So I do want to share every year we have
I'm
a
not stopping there.
You're not stopping there. And thank you, Ryan, for sharing. I know Ryan wants to be a billionaire too. So if you want to scale, again, first step, we're actually setting the path for you if it's not clear. I sometimes share my investor GPS, a map with you. So start with speak to a strategy coach, because I know some people in the chat are asking about paper asset as well. So set a path for yourself by talking to one of our strategy coaches that will guide you along the way. And thank you, Weddy, for also putting the link to reach out to our strategy coaches. So again, if you enjoy our session so much, it's also going to be recorded as well. So call to action. If you're interested in learning more, we have another session tonight, or you can reach out to one of us to get the link for the webinar recording as well. And if you haven't been into an Invest app with us, this was last year, and this is what's going to be like to spend time with a group of like-minded investors. And thank you for spending the time with us again. So Weddy has posted the links in the chat as well. And I do want to see you, and we do want to see you in person in the upcoming events and also at Invest Ed, which is going to be happening October 4th to the 6th. Reach out to us. There's a discount code for those of us joining us today as well. We're opening up the floor. So I do want to hear from you. If we didn't touch upon what you do want to share with us, now it's open. It's a safe environment. If you have any questions or something you do want to share. Can I volunteer? Jordan, you nodded so much during our session. I do want to hear where you're from, and in terms of investment, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for passive income right now. Still have a job. Yeah, I'm lucky to join this big family a while ago, and Actually, I feel so grateful. And right now my strategy is like paper asset, and so far I'm very happy with it. So good result. Hopefully I can have more, more strategy on my belt and grow from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jordan. Anybody else want to share? Unmute yourself, or if you have questions, or we'll respect your time because we're right on time today. Perfect. So if you do have to log off due to JOB, etc., we respect your time. At the same time, we're here to answer any questions you might have. Strategy coaches are here. I see Vince is also in the room. Ryan, myself as mentors and trainers are here to answer your questions as well. Ronald, you're finally off work.
Hello?
Yeah, you're muted. Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, what would you like me to share?
Share about your investing journey as one of the TYT student, where you are, what are you looking for at InvestEd?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely the same as Jordan, looking for that passive income so I don't have to come to the JOB every day. I've also got it started with paper assets, which has been fantastic. And also we are looking to try and use rent to own as one of our main strategies right now.
Oh, okay. Looking for the cash flow. Thank you, Ronald. Weddy.
Hey guys, so I joined last year, joined TYT last year, and the first impression was like, is this a scam? What, this is not right. So actually I pulled out some of the members separately and talked to them. And yeah, I basically joined 3 weeks later, and the experience has been great. I have some real estate experience. I have a little investment here and there. But since joining them, I think I almost doubled my return. So yeah, it's a great community to be with. And then they're all here to help. They are not here to, sell you something. They're here to make you grow and achieve your goal. What the most important thing is, is your why. It's all about you. It's not about them. It's more about your journey. So that's what I found. Thank you.
Thank you, Weddy. Before I let you go and mute yourself, can you share how many deals does it take you to get your ROI, investment back, your tuition, your investment and your tuition back?
Pretty quick, less than a couple months.
Wow,
Like,
action taker. Yeah. All right, Weddy, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
So before we conclude today, Ryan. And mute yourself.
There we go. Yeah. So, sorry, what am I looking most forward to?
Yeah, and before we end the meeting today, give us an ending remark.
Well, I mean, I think for me, some of you know I wasn't at InvestEd last year. I love the video. I'm sad that I wasn't a part of it, but I was celebrating the birth of my daughter. She actually arrived that weekend, so I felt it was being based in Ontario probably wasn't the smartest decision to be on the other side of the country when my wife went into labor. So I decided to forego getting to conference. But I'm most excited, obviously, to see a lot of familiar faces, to see the new faces, because our community continues to grow. And I love that. I think that it's so incredible how new people find us, yet it already feels like they're part of the family. And I think that really speaks to how a lot of people have found us via word of mouth from other people, and the discussions that are had with the strategy coaches, to kind of really vet the mindset. I love how our community has evolved. And again, I commend you and applaud you for making the investment in yourself, and for also making the investment to travel to annual conference. But know that you're going to get a ton of value out of conference, whether you're a new investor or even a seasoned investor. It's all about continually refining yourself. As we've mentioned, you are your biggest asset. You know, so how can you become the sharpest tool possible to propel the business for yourself, for your family, and for future generations to really create that legacy? And I think that a lot of the tools that you need to do that are going to be a part of that weekend, in addition to the incredible energy, the ability to celebrate everybody's wins at the awards night. It's just an unmatched weekend. I truly believe that.
And it's really, when we talk about award night, it's about the students' success. So we're really excited about it every year. Every year, the number of students winning awards grow exponentially. So I look forward to it every year because we can see how people celebrate each other's success as well. I do want to share that with everybody. I put the discount code in the chat. Just the food alone will be worth it. However, the most value is to be there with the community, the network. So Nina, anything to add before we end today?
I think for me, it's so great to come to InvestEd every year, celebrate the successes for sure, and at the same time, really reset my mindset as to what I want to accomplish by next InvestEd. There have been deals I've done at InvestEd where I'm networking with new JV partners, or really also looking at what did that person do last year in that market that I can learn from, and really then take my portfolio and scale it over the next coming year. What can I learn? And if you're a sponge to learning and really looking for new ways to continue to grow as an investor, InvestEd is definitely where you want to be. And the beautiful thing with our community is we just don't focus on one strategy. We are looking at multiple ways, multiple strategies, multiple markets, and there's something for everyone. And so really, I love it for the fact that there's just so much abundance and this willingness to share and grow together. And I think if you're that person where you're feeling stuck, or you're looking to take your portfolio to the next level, or you want to start, or you know someone who might want to, there's something for everyone at InvestEd. And we've really done a stellar job this year. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but we've done a stellar job this year to really carve out different sessions to make sure it's going to suit you and your individual goals. And so definitely somewhere I'm excited to see everyone there.
Thank you, Nina. So on that note, have a great day today, everybody, wherever you are. Take good care. If you're interested in joining the session tonight, I'll see you there as well. Goodbye, everybody.
Take care, everyone.